And hello and welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney.
I begin to think, Wilson, said Sholmes, turning his head languidly in my direction, that there is more to this case than that which we have observed.
Shocking.
Indeed, that there may be another part to this story that we are yet to discover.
That is the same thing.
His eyes wandered, following the steam rising from his cup of herbal tea, leading him to the distant memory of that snowy evening. To the young lady collapsed on the pavement along Briar Road, and to the knife in her back. Lit in the soft glow of gas lamps, a most extraordinary scene had been set. And under the cover of a light fog, the curtain had risen silently on the insoluble mystery of our invisible killer.
Cool. So it makes it sound like Sholmes is working on something in the future and basically just looking back on the preceding events that led up to it, right? That's what it makes it sound like. So hello and welcome back. So FYI, my current plan is currently I am sort of like jumping between this and Persona 5 Strikers. And my intent is I just play through 2 good stopping points on each, and I'm going to go back and forth. And when I finish the first game of the 2 in this, I'm going to go back to Chaos Child. I'm sort of at a point where I'm playing Strikers because I just want something new. But I do want to finish up the stuff that I had previously. The only thing that's probably going to get pushed off like indefinitely is Xenoblade Chronicles X, and that's mainly just because I still have Xenoblade Chronicles 3 stuff to do, and we'll probably have stuff here and there to do for it throughout the rest of the year because it's going to get DLC in various forms, as well as everything else coming up. But this and Chaos Child, I definitely want to just specifically push through and give some focus to, basically, right? So, last time there was a big fire, and maybe that guy burned the evidence. Maybe he figured quite, maybe rightfully, I'd say. Maybe I'm just saying that because I sort of predicted it. Maybe he figured rightfully that the best course of action there might just be to remove the evidence entirely and make everyone scratch their head and never make it like provable in a court setting. Did you sleep last night, Mr. Naruhodo? Sleep? Do people sleep? Oh, where did we end up sleeping? No, not at all. It was an enormous hotel, wasn't it? It's amazing that we ended up not being able to sleep in beds despite there being 500 open rooms. The rooms were so luxurious. Felt like we were staying in a palace. And with all the gas lights twinkling... Oh, sorry, I thought it was like a sarcastic quip by Renosuke for a moment. And with all the gas lights twinkling, it was brighter than day, even in the middle of the night. Yeah, that doesn't sound bad. What about the enormous beds? After my time on the SS Buria, I wasn't going to waste a single inch of that space. So the entire night rolling from one side of the mattress to the other. Oh yes, it really was the sort of night you can only dream of normally. Except... when I learned that we owed £3 for the rooms, that dream quickly turned into a nightmare. Oops. Yeah. Sorry about that. The building was so impressive, the entrance so inviting, I just wandered in without thinking. In a lodging house in Japan, that some money would put a roof over your head for a whole year. Oh, yep, that's inflation. £3. I did try, but I'm afraid I couldn't help my tears when we were presented with the bill. I'm so sorry. What did I do? Renosuke, oh, I really am sorry. Man, we should have kept that. Oh fuck. Well, how much money did he actually give us? Like, he gave us, like, 1 coin, right, at least, right? Well, never mind. We must find some more affordable lodging straight away, though. If we're not careful, our entire stipend will be used up in 10 days or less. Oh, so we did have enough money in order to actually make it work. Okay. It's just a lot of our money. uh, London is a scary place. Oh, good morning to you at this early hour. It reminds me, because some people that I've made friends with just like over the course of I've mentioned before that like another one of my hobbies is like just like indie personal game dev stuff that don't worry about it. I'm never gonna release stuff related to this channel, like associate this channel if I ever do release stuff. But some of the friends I've made in that space are like from they're like artists that are like overseas and that sort of stuff. And it's interesting because it's the same sort of effect where it's just like I live in the US. We sort of have the top end level of like how much things cost per like the money we actually make, right? Because you can make like a dollar can be worth like $3, $4, $5 if you use it in like a different country that just has a lower cost of living. And when you have that sort of like foreign internet ability, you can have people that are like artists that are like commissioning out art to like a different part of the world. They can actually just like make their living on the basis of like what is a like buying a cup of coffee to me could be like a third of their rents or something like that. I mean, it's just very interesting how the dynamics of that international stuff can work. And like I've talked to them about that, it's all very interesting, and this reminds me of that basically. Oh, yes, we well. Good morning to you, Lord Chief Justice. We have come to report on the outcome of the trial at the Old Bailey yesterday. Sada-san is amazing. She doesn't bat an eyelid, even in the presence of the imposing Lord Strongheart. Yes, I believe you had a very comprehensive initiation into British courtroom practices. Oh, yes, it's very eye-opening, thank you. And in accordance with your instructions, Lord Strongheart, Mr. Naruhodo performed his duty to the end. Yes. I've already been apprised of the events. You conduct a remarkable defense. You may consider the test passed. Oh! No longer are you a student from the Empire of Japan. You may henceforth claim to be a fully fledged lawyer. Man, imagine if other people could get just, you know, get through the system that simply. My country is delighted to welcome young talent from such a remote eastern island. Or land. Same idea. Thank you very much. So, I'm a lawyer now. We can do this, we can do this, we can do this. Yep, we can do this. I'm just imagining his head. We can do this. Yep, okay. This is really happening now. Just imagining it as that, man. Now, in the view of your new appointment, I have a fresh case in mind for you. I'd like for you to take it on at once. I trust that won't be a problem. Another case? Already? Nothing trains a lawyer better than practical experience. I'm sure I don't sense dissatisfaction, do I? Is it another murder trial? I mean, actually, based on what happened, probably. In, like, the opening. It's just that yesterday's trial ended unusually. I haven't quite come to terms with it. What's to come to terms with? The man was cleared. What more were you hoping for? The truth? I mean, if I was to choose something in terms of, like, what I wanted out of it. Yeah, we don't need this. I have no problem with providing a proper defense, but it would have been very nice if we had the truth. To go along with the Waluigi laugh. I'm not going to deny the Waluigi laugh wasn't, like, in addition to the values of everyone's lives there, but it would have been nice to also have the truth. I just can't help wondering if Mr. Megiddo was really innocent. So Naruhodo? It's just that I never managed to ascertain the truth. And then the trial ended. Well, you needn't let it trouble you for a second longer. I'm sorry? What do you mean, Lord Strongheart? Magnus Megiddo passed away. Immediately following the trial... Wait, was he the one inside the... No? What? Mr. Megiddo is... dead? Wait. Did he try burning it and just fucking, like, fucked it up? I have 19 minutes and 41 seconds until my next engagement. Time enough to talk. Holy... what? What? Yeah, sure. Yeah, you know what? That seems like the topic for the moment. I don't understand. What happened? How could he be dead? After the trial concluded yesterday, there was a great commotion in the Old Bailey. As you'll presumably recall, an omnibus had been wheeled into the courtroom. Okay, we definitely don't need... Yes, of course, that was the scene of the crime which Mr. Megiddo had been accused of. Precisely. Well, the bailiff's attention was diverted by some other matter. The omnibus went up in flames. Oh. How could such a thing have happened? That is being investigated as we speak, but already. The police have identified a corpse found inside the charred shell of the carriage as that of Megiddo. Oh, he wouldn't fake that, would he? Could he fake that? What benefit would he have from faking that? That's awful! The man must have slipped inside, whilst the bailiff's attention was elsewhere. Bailiff really needs to pay more attention. Yeah, it's really like the highest court in the land. Yeah, okay, yeah, we'll definitely have a bailiff who just constantly is looking away. You think he might have been distracted by someone slipping him some money? And how could that have happened? That is also being investigated as we speak. Looking back now, immediately after the trial, Mr. Megiddo did mention going back into the courtroom to look at the omnibus. Well, I must be making tracks now. It's time for the inspection, right? What? Sorry, what inspection? I'm going to examine the omnibus again, so I'm told. I asked if I could be present for it myself. An inspection of the omnibus. Not to my knowledge. I do not believe Scotland Yard had any intention of re-examining the carriage. Oh, fantastic. So it was an excuse for him to go in and fuck with the scene a little bit more, probably. And it might have been the bailiff who... Like, maybe the bailiff was the one who did all this stuff in the first place. The changes and that sort of stuff. That does open up some possibility for what might have happened. But then who is Mr. Megiddo talking about? Never mind that now. The Yard is making a thorough investigation. The matter is no longer any concern of yours. Leave it to the police. Poor Mr. Megiddo. Yeah, I mean... innocent or not, to burn to death. That is... It's the way to go that you don't want to go, right? So, how did you find your first taste of our country's Supreme Courts? Oh, well, I don't know. I mean, it was... wow. Well said, well said. Mr. Naruhodo means that the whole experience was steeped in the solemnity of Great Britain's long history. It's really a world apart from our own judicial system in Japan, which is only a few short decades old. Wow, Susato-san has such a way with words. And composure. And everything else. And you seem to have a way of failing to find the right ones. Reads my mind, motherfucker. The judicial system here is the most advanced in the world. Learn all you can. Is it most advanced in the world? Is it? In a system that we specifically used what was supposedly an archaic rule to our advantage in order to allow the system to fully go to creating the most truth we could out of it, admittedly being what it is. I'd say it feels very problematic that the system seems to have a method of just stopping the trial before you fully have all the facts of the case. That does seem problematic, doesn't it? The jury can just be like, yeah, we think you did it. You did it. It was fortunate. Your very first trial was a simple affair. Simple? Wait, that was simple? As I believe I mentioned yesterday morning, it was a trial you couldn't lose. I don't mean to be contrary, Lord Strongheart, but the case was anything but simple. I mean, is he in on it? He seems pretty... I have been wondering since, like, I edited the stuff for the last set of episodes, and he was like, oh, it's a trial you can't lose. It should be simple. It's a murder case. You should be able to do this. So I was wondering if, like, because it seemed pretty lost, like, from an initial... an initial impression of the case, right? It seemed like pretty much a lost cause, everything considered. But he said, "Oh no, it should be an easy to win." I didn't think he actually meant anything by it, but the fact that he's doubling down on it now does make me suspicious. The circumstances of the case were so incriminating. I was stunned when I first heard them. In fact, I'm still finding it hard to believe that we managed to get a favorable verdict. Is something funny? No, my apologies. However, the fact is that you did receive the not guilty verdict you set out to achieve. And that can only be attributed to exceptional talent. Wouldn't you agree? You're contradicting yourself now. Oh, it's one you couldn't lose or something like that, etc., etc., etc. But it also means that you got what you got, so exceptional talent and etc., etc. I mean, it does feel like I basically followed the breadcrumbs that he had set up, not even for me to, like, follow, but for, like, him to set up. And it definitely made him seem a lot more innocent, considering that I was the one who was able to follow the breadcrumbs. Let's work under the assumption that he, like, set all that shit up, right? We don't know for sure. We also know that we don't even know that he was necessarily guilty of the murder, right? Even if he did set up, like, change the evidence, if he just thought it was so incriminating he didn't really have a chance unless he changed it, he could still have done that. Illegal shit to change stuff and whatnot. But completely within the possibility. And he seemed very ready to just basically follow those breadcrumbs he set up himself. I think we just happened to find that breadcrumbs, but how Strongheart is talking about it, he really does sound like he knows full well, right? Exactly what was supposed to go on yesterday. So, yeah. Well, I don't know about that. Well, never mind. You exceeded my expectations, I freely admit. That much is at least an undeniable truth. So, was it like a sure thing or not? It's such a weird statement for him to make. Like, everything else he says about it feels like it's contradicting it. Everything else that actually happened feels like it's contradicting it. Unless he's basically backtracking on that double down. Because he realized, like, it doesn't actually make any sense in context. Which is precisely why I've prepared a new case for you that I mentioned before. What's going on? What was he going to say before? Yeah, okay. And the game seems to be suggesting it too anyways, right? Could you perhaps give us some details about this new case you mentioned? Don't tell me. It's a murder, and the trial starts in 10 minutes. Oh, no, 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 no. It's a murder, and the trial starts in 15 minutes. Do not worry. It's nothing so alarming or quite so urgent as your last assignment. It's only a murder, starting 5 minutes. In fact, this case is completely different. Oh, I see. Did you just read my mind? That is to say, no one has died, as yet. Oh, is it someone in critical condition? And the trial will not be today. There is plenty of time to research the case thoroughly. 23 hours, 43 minutes, and 19 seconds to be precise. Well, what if your clock's off? What clock is being used at the Old Bailey? Are you sure that your clock is precisely at the same... Like, I'm sure your clock's fantastically tuned, but it's the Old Bailey's? Because that's what they'd be going off of, at the place, right? So the trial's tomorrow, then. I don't know if that's a relieved or a nervous it's still tomorrow. That's still just tomorrow. Is everything alright? I think it might be best for Susato to go find us some cheap lodging while I focus on the trial stuff today. Oh, yes, I'm just a little confused, that's all. Yesterday's trial was... Well, it's left me wondering if I'm really cut out for being a lawyer. Oh, Mr. Naruhodo. I don't know if I could face standing in that courtroom again after Mr. Murgyoted's trial. Oh, yes, I nearly forgot. There is one similarity with yesterday's case. Is it an omnibus? Once again, there is currently no one to advocate for the defense. Well, that's probably why you're assigning it to me, right? Oh. But the situation remains unchanged. The trial will start tomorrow with the defendant unrepresented. And if that happens, I need not remind you of the inevitable outcome. The most terrible end awaits the defendant. Yes, that is right. Here we go again. Fun. Your time is up. You'll have to excuse me. I would advise you to begin making preparations for tomorrow's trial. After all, the clock is ever ticking. There's now but 23 hours, 26 minutes, and 39 seconds until the court sits. Last time he mentioned 23 hours, he said there was plenty of time. Yay! And one more thing, Mr. Naruhodo. There is something I should like to ask you. Okay, so I think what we're getting from him, based on that time thing, is I think we're starting to get a tell of his lying pattern, where he'll specifically try to downplay stuff. I guess, is he trying to downplay stuff as the lie, and then he's more honest about it afterwards? Or is he more honest as he tries to downplay something, and then as he wants to apply more pressure in order to get things done, he'll phrase things in a more stringent, like, "Ooh, this is important," sort of light. I don't know. It could be either, because one does suggest that the first probably makes more sense, but the latter makes more sense if we assume he's lying and he knows about the stuff Megillah set up for that trial before. There's something I'd like to ask you. What's that? Yesterday, you remarked upon something. That you intend to see through the will of your late compatriot, Mr. Hasagi. I would be interested to hear what exactly you mean by that. Inside 34 seconds. Kazuma always used to say, you see, that he wanted to learn how the greatest judicial system in the world works so he could change ours in Japan. Now that he's gone, I'd like to work towards that myself, and there's another thing. Oh. Another thing. Continue. On the way here, on the steamship, he said something to me. Something very important I have to do. Something very important. And what exactly would that be? He never had a chance to tell me. I suppose he would have done if he had made it. You're out of time. Well, thank you for the enlightening discussion. And, did I actually run out of time, or was it just cutting me off? It would actually be funny if it counted 34 seconds. If he'd ever made it to Great Britain. Well, thank you for an enlightening discussion. Mr. Naruto, what's all this about? Sasuke never once mentioned any sort of thing to me. I urge you to both focus your attentions on the matter at hand. Oh, hello. I've taken the liberty of summoning the police inspector in charge of the case. He'll be able to apprise you of the details. Oh, he was in the cutscene before. How long has he been here? He does have a Watson look about him. Is that our Watson to our Sherlock Holmes? So, I wish you the best of luck and bid you farewell. Oh, what is Watson's first name? Like, do we get Batson? Oh, Natson? Hatson? Kratson? Hatson! Oh, I totally want to work with a Hatson. There's something very important that I have to do. Hazuma-sama? What do you mean? I wish I knew. And honestly, he never told me. Anyway, we had better talk to the detective, don't you think? Yes, you're right. I hope I'm just imagining it, but I wouldn't say he looks pleased to see us at all. Well, if it's like an open and shut case, and it's like we're basically just... Oh, examine. Which means... Ooh, no, let's examine the... Is there something in his hand? Food! Could we trouble you? Oh, what voice do I want to... What do you think? Lovely weather, isn't it? What's the weather got to do with anything? Well, listen to me, you young Japanese upstart. Oh, okay, listen to me, young Japanese upstarts. Some frippery about the weather doesn't get every English gent eaten out of your hands, you know? But Susato-san told me it was foolproof. I'm a busy man, a very busy man. There's a crime scene to investigate, and I'm here having to give the likes of you a talking to. Oh, I'm ever so sorry. Anyhow, imagine what the other officers will be saying, huh? I haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the bigwigs these days. Gregson, is that our Watson? Is it Gregson? Oh, is his name like Gregory Watson or something like that then? I'll look it up. I've got myself curious. Watson first name. Oh, enlighten me, Google. John Watson. Yeah, no, that sounds right. We need Johnson then. Well, I guess Johnson would be like an actual name. Haven't seen Gregson anywhere, have you? No, he's too busy with the big wigs these days. And he also might not be any of the above, right? I could just be wrong about that. Oh, because some bumpkin who's the owner John from a country I've never even heard of. Ah, hear that ripping sound? That's my reputation at the yard going to tatters. There's no need to rip us apart as well. God, he loves that thing. Where is he getting a new one? It's like a is it like purposely putting it behind the like name tag just to hide the loading of a new one? I don't believe we've been introduced. This is me, Mr. Ryunosuke Naruhodo, a defense lawyer. Eh? It is a pleasure to make your acquaintance. I'm Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, It's lovely weather we're having today, isn't it? It works better from a cute girl, I imagine. Come on, comment about the weather. Yes, I knew he'd comment about the fucking bugging weather. I knew it would work. It is unseasonably fine, I grant you. London winters don't see a lot of sunshine. Unbelievable. How did she pull that off? So, Lord Strongheart has asked me to fill you in on the case. The name's Tobias Gregson. Inspector Gregson to you. I'm from Scotland Yard. Well, Watson was like an army doctor, wasn't he? So maybe, yeah, maybe I'm just like, that guy looks like he could be a Watson, but he's not really a Watson. Gregson? Inspector Credson. Actually, that begs the question. If I go back and look at the clips from like the beginning, like little anecdotes from like the case, that like, little thing, did it mention Watson in any of those? I don't remember if like they actually used his name or they used another name somewhere, or if a name was even mentioned. What's the matter with Susato-san? Oh, is this gonna be like someone that Holmes works with regularly or something? I mean, in terms of her knowing, it would have to be, right? Because she reads it. Does this detective's name mean something to her? Inspector, are you perhaps the Inspector Gregson? You're acting like you know this man, Miss Susato. But he's a London detective. Oh, I do know him very well, in fact. Very well? Yes, he features prominently in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. Oh, that publication. Oh, what's it called again? Rants magazine? Oh, that's right. Inspector Gregson and Mr. Sholmes enjoy a wonderfully friendly rivalry. Oh, okay. I'm not that familiar with actual like Sherlock Holmes. Like I watched some of like the new BBC stuff, the like contemporary take on it, but I'm not actually that familiar with Sherlock Holmes stuff. I'm not that familiar with Sherlock Holmes stuff. Really? You rival the great Mr. Sholmes? That's incredible. Oh, well, I don't know about that. Mr. Sholmes isn't like a professional like myself, of course, but he does come up with the goods from time to time. Mr. Sholmes is equally complimentary about you, Inspector, isn't he? You've earned his highest praise. Gregson is the pick of a bad lot of all the Scotland Yarders. Those were his own words. That sounds like a backhanded compliment. That's his highest praise. Well, Mr. Sholmes isn't particularly known for giving compliments, you see. Ah, that he's not. And thanks to that magazine, my name's known all over London town now. That's great, isn't it? I have to admit that to start with, I was a little, well, flattered by all the attention. Everyone wanted to check my hand, and my reputation at the yard went through the roof. Oh, that's wonderful. No, it is not! There's nothing more sinister than the man on the streets. People are always looking at me now. They're whispering rumors about me under my breath, I'm sure. Rumors? Are you quite sure? He's a detective. He has a very cop-like mind. Everyone's a criminal. Like there's a crime around every corner. Oh, he's changed since he started appearing in those stories. The fame's gone to his head, stuff like that. Gosh, do you really think people are saying such mean-spirited things about you? I mean, I totally would believe people would say that. That does seem realistic. And like I said, they whisper. So I can't catch exactly what they're saying, but I know what folks are like. I'm sure that's what they're saying. I'm sure his eggs is eggs. But eggs aren't always you know what? I get the feeling this detective could be very hard work. Oh, dear. Perhaps the sudden rise of fame does indeed change people? For the better or for the worse. Fame is definitely... We do tend to treat celebrities in every form like they're not real humans. That is a tendency of the world, for sure. Yeah, I could see it. Okay, the case. So, about the case that the Lord Chief Justice mentioned before. Nothing to tell, really. As far as we're concerned at the yard, it couldn't be simpler. Oh, dear. That probably means that as far as we're concerned as lawyers, it couldn't be more complicated. I wish you were wrong about that, but I have a nasty feeling you're right. A young woman was walking around the pavement on Briar Road when she was stabbed from behind. Fortunately, it wasn't fatal, but she's still laid up in hospital, unconscious. But that's despicable! What sort of coward would attack the poor woman from behind? Suppose you would have to finish whoever it was off with a Susato takedown, wouldn't you? That is neither here nor there, Mr. Naruhodo. Brace yourself, Ryunosuke. You've angered her now.
Anyway, after something of a whirlwind investigation, the criminal was arrested. I barely had time for a cup of tea after the incident took place, to be honest.
So, there must have been something left at the scene that led you directly to the culprit. Or perhaps a reliable witness who recognized the person in question.
Oh, let me stop you there. You're wasting your time on this one.
Sorry?
There's nothing you can do. There's no way to help the bloke now.
Why ever not?
Simple. The prosecutor that's been assigned to the trial tomorrow is Lord Barak van Zeeks.
No.
Sounds like you've heard of him then.
Oh, yes, we are very familiar with the Lord Van Zeeks. Believed to be the harbinger of death itself.
The Reaper of the Bailey.
Okay. Lord Barak van Zeeks. We faced in court only yesterday. Mr. McGill told us about him before the trial, didn't he? When Van Zeeks stands for the prosecution, they call the accused the sacrificial lambs. And in every single trial in which he's been the prosecutor, the accused has been damned. The Reaper of the Bailey nickname. I suppose he's earned that because every defendant he advocates against is found guilty, is that it? Except for Mr. McGilded, who also just happened to die afterwards. Well, if that's the case, we should inform you, Inspector, that in yesterday's trial against Lord Van Zeeks, Mr. Naruhodo secured a verdict of not guilty.
What of it?
I think. That means that even against the Reaper of the Bailey, it's not impossible to save the defendant.
No, you really don't have a clue, do you?
What do you mean?
What happened to that bloke in the end, eh? He's dead. Magnus McGilded came a cropper in that omnibus when he went up in flames. So you can't rightly say you saved the defendant, can you?
What are you saying? That's sort of out of our hands.
Look, if Van Zeeks could get dot to stick on everyone, he'd be a miracle worker. But that's not how it goes. He doesn't work miracles, he works magic. Black magic. I'd have a good long think about that if I were you.
Which means he doesn't always win, it's just that the verdict of, justice, the hammer of justice comes down on everyone that he's against at some point or another. You think McGilded would be distinctly aware of that too and would have been much more careful about that part of it. Are we really supposed to believe that?
Right, well, I filled you in as requested and I'm very nearly out of chips. So, I'll be heading back to the crime scene now. I was still carrying out a few investigations there.
It was Briar Road, you said, didn't you? Where the incident took place.
That's correct, ma'am. And if you head over to the holding cells, you can meet the criminal himself.
You've branded him a criminal already?
He's as good as. Dragging like a leaf in a cell, he is. Gonna give you a chuck if nothing else. He's inmate 53. Speak to the jailer and show you the way.
Inmate 53. Thank you. So, there's no helping anyone against the Reaper of the Bailey, they say. Interesting. Is something troubling you, Mr. Naruhodo? What do you think? To tell the truth, when I recalled the trial yesterday, I can't stop myself from shaking. The idea of facing the Reaper in court again is... Well, if you think it's too much for you, there's no shame in turning the case down. That takes courage, too. Well, if this person has no one else, worst case, it results in the same thing as it would be if I turned it down, right? But the man they arrested is innocent. You could well imagine he would be shaking like a leaf in his cell. And I, for one, wouldn't find the sight of that funny. So, if I'm honest, I'm still reeling from shock of yesterday's events myself too. And I'm not really sure if I'll be able to help this man, whoever he is. I'd like to try. So I think I'm going to make some inquiries. Will you help? Did you really think you had to ask? At the very least, you might be better off looking for a place for us to stay, because, you know, if we just spend all day investigating this, we're going to get fucked real bad. After all, I am your judicial assistant. Thank you. So then, shall we? Yes, let's go. Yay! And time for me to get some fucking water, because, oh my goodness. Yeah, these are really killer on my throat. Probably the prison first. Try to get some context as to the nature of his story before we go and start investigating the crime scene. Holy moly, this is significantly different than anything we've ever seen for the... Are we going to see him behind the bars? So these are the British prison cells. They look very... medieval. Oh, the ghastly. It feels just like a dungeon. Yes, having experienced it in Japan myself, I can assure you that our wooden cells feel a lot cozier than these cold stone walls. Oh, don't, Mr. Nahodo. You're making it seem even worse. Ah, her crying face. Apparently, our client is in the cell here. It's so dark at the back there, I can't make him out. I wonder what he's like. Inmate 53, your legal Inmate 53, your legal representative is here to see you. Stop by in the back of the cell and show your face at once. Am I a cat as yet with no name? Call me by a number. It's utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable. I refuse to answer. I'm not even going to pretend to try a voice for whoever this is. Mr. Naruto, what? What do you think is going on here? I have no idea, but I wasn't just hearing things, was I? That tirade of complaints was in Japanese. Oh, that's promising. Oh, hello. Yeah, that's convenient to not make it too awkward to do these. Excuse me, but shh, quiet. They're all around here, hiding. I know they are. They're watching, listening. Even now, I can sense it. Right, so could I ask you who is... There you are. You've come to curse me, haven't you? Don't try to hide it. You're a ghost. A ghost? A ghost? What? Yeah, it seems like totally not a lost cause. What did I say I came here for? Context? Yeah, I think that's going to go very well. We mean you no harm, prisoner-san. Are you... Oh, Japanese by any chance? This is... Beyond my wildest dreams! Forgive me for that outburst before. I'm so sorry. Oh, it's fine. We were just a little surprised, that's all. Imagine it! It's been 12 long months since I left my hometown, and I am in a frightful fix in a foreign land. So hearing the sweet, sentimental tones of a compatriot's voice here in this damp, dark hellhole was a most monumentally moving moment. I do not think his design quite matches his behavior at the moment. Who could have guessed that this new client Lord Strongheart assigned to us would turn out to be a fellow Japanese person? What compassion my fellow countrymen show. To dispatch a first-class lawyer all the way from Japan to defend a mere foreign student. Oh, you're a student? Wait, what? That mustache does not look student-like. Also, it's fucking twitching.
Noble, nurturing, never failing, Nippon!
A first-class lawyer? Oh, dear, I think there's something of a misunderstanding here. I wonder, would you be so kind as to tell us what happened? Why you've been detained as a suspect, for example?
Yes, I can, I will. Such, say, sullen and silent.
I'm not quite sure I understand what he means, but he seems happy. Yeah, he does. I just hope he actually has a good reason to be. Thank you for cooperation. I am a lawyer, as you said. My name is Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I am Naruhodo-san's judicial assistant, Susato Mikatoba.
I am a visiting student sent here by our government. Notably, notoriously named Natsume.
Oh, for fuck's sake. Okay. Ugh. This is gonna fuck with my head. So I mentioned before that I'm playing Persona 5 Strikers. So I recently, just via like where I am recording on that, I finished up the second jail. And there's a character in that called Natsume. That's gonna fuck with my head. So let's call him Soseki.
Soseki Natsume.
Yeah, let's not think of him as Natsume. Nope, he's Soseki. Soseki? Soseki, probably, right? Here, now let's show my armband. He actually might be really happy to see it.
Yes! Yes! The symbol of our great empires, first-rate lawyers! Oh, which means, of course, you stand by my side, you'll defend me!
Oh, no, sorry, that wasn't why I was showing it to you.
Then why else would you show that to me?
Oops. In hindsight, that probably wasn't the best idea. I sort of just want to keep him in that pose as I take a drink of water. What a fantastic... What fantastic, beautiful teeth he has. Soseki Natsume. Soseki Natsume-san. What an unusual name.
Oh, call me Soseki, please. I am a Bowen, you see, a writer of haiku. It's something of a nom de plume.
A nom de plume? You mean an alias? That's right, Naruhodo-san.
No, no, no! Don't be so prosaic. It's much more refined than that.
And haiku. It really does remind me of home. Did I hear you say that you're a visiting student sent over here by the government?
Yes, that's right. A year ago, I was told to go study English. First, I had to suffer that misery. Now this! Oh, it's beyond bail!
Suffer that misery? Did you not want to study here?
No, I mean, I've had an interest in Great Britain for some years, of course.
Oh,
what? Oh, just because the government tells you to do something doesn't mean you can do it. No!
What do you mean?
Oh, if they told me to study English literature, that I could have understood. That is my field. No, they told me to study the English language. Utterly, unbelievably, unjustly unreasonable.
I see. Why would they send you to England to study English? I mean, I guess that's like throwing you in the deep end, but at the same time, it seems like an expensive way for the government. Who has a haiku writer? And just like, we're going to spend... Maybe they're not funding it. Maybe he's funding it. Oh my goodness, that government just told him, fucking learn your English, go to England, go do it. It's like, are you going to cover that? No. Go to fucking England. This is on your dime. Just do it.
I tendered a blank piece of paper. Wise words on a white washi.
Wait. I was told to send a report about my first year here. Okay, sorry, I missed that part. So, you must be a man of great standing.
Oh, yes. So I'm often told.
And often like to be told, it seems. Huh. I wonder. Give me a sec. I have a thought. Holy moly. Okay, so here's a thought. So apparently, Soseki Natsumi is an actual author from Japan who actually did go abroad to England, and like didn't like his time there. So here's my theory. I mentioned before that Persona 5 Strikers, since I'm playing that as well, had a Natsume character in it, whose like whole thing was that he was a novelist from a family. And I believe the Natsume was the family name, specifically. If I remember correctly. So, either the implication is that Natsume from that is like a freaking descendant, conceptually, of this guy, or it's like inspired name-wise to be like in the novelist. Because one thing I came across just Googling this a little bit was apparently, Soseki Natsume actually was like on like money in Japan at a point. He's that famous. So, fuck. I mean, I can imagine them taking the name and using it in Persona for like a writer character. That's like, yeah. The accusation against you.
I will try to do him proud with this voice that I've given him. Oh yes, very much. It's a very respectful voice that I've given him.
Can you perhaps tell us exactly what you've been... Actually, I'm talking about being respectful, but the game's having him doing fucking, like, JoJo poses. Can you perhaps tell us exactly why you've been arrested, Soseki-san?
No, I didn't do it. I didn't commit that atrocious murder.
Murder? I mean... well, that's probably not a good look. What is the state of the woman? I don't think we actually know that for sure. We just know that we were told that it wasn't a murder case.
Oh, no, it's all right. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes.
Why did it just save there? Why did it say... Whatever. So you're a witness. For your eyes? You mean you saw the attacker?
Right. I didn't see anyone.
What? Wait, how can you see the stabbing but not see a person to do the...
If I'd seen the person who did it, do you think I'd be locked up in here?
Well, technically, I mean, if you stabbed her, you could see her... You could have seen her get stabbed right before your very eyes without seeing anyone else to do the stabbing. I mean, that account does paint you very suspiciously. Oh dear. Seems this case is becoming rather complicated.
Why me? Why me? Oh, why did that silly woman have to be stabbed in front of me? Oh, it's the girls of London. It's incredibly, inexcusably, irritatingly inconvenient.
So, Soseki-san was there at the scene, but he didn't see the attacker. It's vital that we find out more about the case. Wait. I'm just gonna go over this really quickly. I didn't do it. I didn't commit the atrocious murder. So he didn't do the murder. No, it's alright. The woman didn't actually die, did she? But she was stabbed with a knife right before my eyes. Before your eyes, and we saw the... He never actually denied doing the crime. I'm gonna note, he said he didn't murder anyone, but she didn't get murdered in the first place, so there's no murder to be accused of, right? He didn't, like... He hasn't denied doing the stabbing.
It was an accursed evening, just after the snow had started to clear up and heavy with fog. I'd been to the bookshop to buy some books, and I was on my way back to my accursed lodgings.
Sure, the bookshop wasn't accursed too.
As I was walking along that accursed pavement, I could make out the soul silhouettes of another man ahead of me.
The soul silhouette?
A woman wearing a green overcoat. She was. And just as I went to overtake her, she suddenly lets out a little scream, collapsed into the gold hard slabs of the stone of my feet.
Oh, how terrible.
I called out to the woman, but she didn't move. It was like a Ghostly, ghoulish, grim graveyard.
I am sort of getting tired of that. Slight exaggeration there, perhaps.
That was terrifying. I had to get away from there. So I ran, as fast as my legs could carry me, back to my accursed lodgings.
Yeah, you look really fucking suspicious. That's not good.
Though, they'll say it was shameful, I know. To run away like that.
Tell me, Sasaki-san, was the victim an acquaintance of yours at all?
Don't be ridiculous. Do you think I know any of these fair English, and a young woman at that? I'm diffident, shy, timid, unsure. I can't talk to people!
Okay. I do have neighbors. I can't yell too much. I see. A young woman unknown to Sasaki-san. So, at the time it happened, who else did you see nearby? Did anybody pass you? Oh, that's never a good sign. Whenever he fucking fixes his bow tie.
Regrettably. Apart from myself and the woman, I didn't see a soul.
No one. Oh, great. Okay, so thoughts. A knife ended up in her back. Presumably, it was in her back when he was like behind her, walking up to her. Let's assume everything he's saying is the truth. I think that's perfectly fair at this point to just assume everything he's saying is the truth for speculation's sake. Out in the open, on the middle of a road, so it wasn't like if there wasn't anyone else around, then presumably whatever happened remotely in some capacity. Whether it was a trap or someone threw the knife? I don't think it was a trap because it was out in the open. So throw the knife is like the most likely thing? So the victim was unknown to you, and there's nobody else in the street at the time that he was aware of. He was also not really paying attention to other people, and he also ran home in a panic, so he could have missed people. That creates something of a conundrum, doesn't it?
What conundrum?
That no one else could have done it? Is that the thought? Because it's not like she got shot. Throwing a knife is like really sort of an out there suggestion on its own, right? What do you mean, Suzaru-san? What's the conundrum? Well, if Sasaki-san just told us what Sasaki-san has just told us. Very elegant, Suzaru-san. You do really have a great way of finding the right words at the right time, don't you? If what Sasaki-san has just told us here is true, there's something I can't explain. He says that he didn't know the victim and that there was no one else at the scene. Then he apparently fled without having been seen. Oh, yeah, no, that's a good point.
No, I did.
But if that's the case, okay, well, we'll see who the witness is. Surely this man has to be the culprit.
Oh, you... What did you just say?
I didn't say anything. I didn't say anything. Nothing. I didn't say anything. Oops, perhaps I thought that a little too loudly. We do seem to have some mind readers in our group. Actually, that's not what was troubling me. What I was thinking was, how does Sasaki-san actually come to be arrested? Sorry. He didn't touch the victim, and there was nobody at the scene to see him. So how did the police ever discover that he is there in the first place? Oh, yes, she's right.
It was him. That accursed great detective. He led the police to me. Of all the bad luck.
Accursed great oh, no. Oh, could it be?
I shall never forget that man's name so long as I live. With his hearty laugh and his self-proclaimed greatness. Rush, busybody, be gone. May you be cursed until the end of your days. Herlock Shums.
I knew it. Maybe he was gonna get back into the stories one way or another, right? Mr. Sholmes? Ah, that does change. It's fun. Well, I didn't expect to hear that name from this man's lips, that's for sure.
The morning after that nightmare had unfolded on the pavement before me, I was gnawing on a sliver of hard cheese when some men suddenly burst in through the door. They started shouting at me. "This is the police. Put the weapon down." Yes, it was a thin silver, and yes, it was odd, but it wasn't. I wasn't eating a weapon.
Oh, sliver, not silver.
Disgusting dietary discrimination devils.
You clearly had a trying morning yesterday. I think we all did.
There he was, in the middle of all the policemen, grinning like a Cheshire cat. That's Loch Sholmes!
It's actually just Herlock Sholmes. He's English.
I've since found out that he's a famous detective in,
He's a famous name in detection here in London. Sorry, that's... okay. Yes, the great detective is really very well known.
And his overly sharp mind managed to deduce my whereabouts, apparently. He thinks I'm the knife-wielding madman. Me? This weak, stooped kitten of a man?
Yes, as you scream... He said calmly. I wonder what great deduction process led him to his conclusion this time. I mean, it's sort of on point. Maybe he obviously got details wrong, but he did legitimately track down a witness, right? Actually, doesn't that mean, because we are on the same boat, if we just got here, like, yesterday morning, doesn't that literally mean he showed up yesterday morning and immediately found this guy? Did you mean to say that Mr. Shum's deduction was the only reason the police arrested you? That would be really most unreasonable. Well, if you, like, testify to being there, then...
Well, the thing is, I was thrown into a panic when they barged their way in.
Of course you were. That's only natural.
I was terrified and trembling, and they kept throwing question after question at me in impossible English. Flammery, flim-flammery. Oh, flim-flammery, not film. Film isn't a thing yet.
Well, sort of. I guess you have camera film. Not that I'm overthinking it. Well, we are in England. You can't really blame them for questioning you in English.
Oh, good points, but my mind went blank. I knew how to answer, but I didn't know what to say. So I just kept repeating things like, yes, I do, and I'm fine. Next thing I knew, I was in manacles. And before I knew it, I was thrown in here.
Oh dear, I'm afraid that's hardly surprising. I'm fine. He is, not fine now. How does he get, like, food? If he, like, doesn't really know English.
Mr. Naruhodo Esquire.
Oh, you can just call me Naruhodo. And while we're speaking English, a simple Mr. is more than enough.
Oh, yes, all right. Yes, they've really got to me. This country is poisoning my mind. But please, I beg you to defend me in court tomorrow. You can tell them what really happened. You'll do it, won't you?
Well,
Why is it so hard to say yes to me?
I feel like you've said that statement before. I feel like you've asked people that question before. Well, the thing is, I'm just a student like yourself, on a study tour.
A student?
I have defended a case in the Old Bailey, only the one though. But at this moment in time, I really don't know what I'm supposed to believe in. I am confused about what country... I am confused about what justice in this country even means. Oh, Naruhodo-san. I'm not even the foreign student who's supposed to be here. I'm sort of a locum lawyer, I suppose.
But that armband! That's the mark of a defense lawyer from our great empire.
It's actually a keepsake from the man who should have been here. He was my best friend.
A keepsake? Oh, I know exactly what they're saying about me.
Oh, what do you mean?
The lawyers, all the British defense lawyers, they won't defend me.
Goodness. But why do you say that?
Well, the same reason as you noted before, when it happened. There was only the victim and myself around, and I ran away from the scene of the crime. I'm not a fool. I know it looks as though I must be the culprit.
Must be very hard for you. I mean, your like legitimate story is like, fuck, it was me and this girl. Then just like a knife showed up in her back. I don't know where it came from. There's no one else around. I mean, it wasn't from me. And I totally just ran away afterwards. But that wasn't because I'm guilty. That was just because I was scared, you know? I mean, he's like, yeah, I think that's just a timing thing for the autosave. Like there is like maybe not a more guilty sounding story I could even think of. It must be very hard for you, Sasaki-san.
And anyway, I'm a student from overseas. I'm just a foreign nobody to them, someone not to be trusted. I heard them openly laughing about me before, in my earshots, without any compunction at all. Any trial for this man would be a waste of time, they said, and of course the foreigner did it. They even had the gall to say the man doesn't understand half of what has been said anyways.
That's awful.
They're wrong. I've studied more English than half the policemen out there working on the streets. I've traveled halfway around the world to learn about these people's country and its great history. But no one here wants to listen to a man with a strange accent. They all hate me. So, at the very least, I'd like to entrust my fate to someone who can listen to me in my native tongue.
I will do the best I can.
You could do it. Couldn't you? When I look into your eyes, I can see it. I can see what you've been through.
Sasaki-san, it's just that. I'll do my best. Come on, we're gonna do it. We came here with the intention of helping him. Give me a little time, please. I'll do what I can, for the time being.
What do you mean?
We shall investigate the case as thoroughly as possible. If we can find some clues, it'll give us a much better chance, I'm sure.
Oh, yes, thank you. I'll be here, alone, waiting for you, locum student Mr. Naruhodo's Esquire.
We should be going then, Naruhodo-san, Esquire. We have a case to prepare for. Hi. Well, it is nice meeting you, actual historical figure, Mr. Man, who totally is 100% accurate to exactly what he was like in real life, I'm sure.